In this lesson, we're going to look at converting fractions into decimals. I believe the easiest way to do this is by doing long division, unless you have a calculator, obviously. So for the first one, 2 over 5 here, I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to divide it into 2. Now 5 doesn't divide into 2, so that's where I'm going to introduce my decimal and I'm going to add a 0, because 2 decimal 0 is the same as 2. So now I'm asking myself, okay, so that was 0, and there's my decimal point. 5 now goes into 20 4 times. And if I backwards multiply, that's going to be the 20, but I'm going to keep my decimal place. And when I do my subtraction here, I get 0. Once I get a remainder of 0, I am done. And so therefore, I know that 2 divided by 5 is 0.4. Looking at another one that has a bit more steps, 3 divided by 8. So I'm going to take the 8 and I'm going to divide that into the 3. 8 divides into 3, none, it's a 0. So now I'm going to add my decimal point and add a 0. 8 goes into 30, well, that will go in 3 times. If I take 3 and multiply it by 8, I'm going to get 24. But remember to put my decimal point there because it's really 8 multiplied by 0.3, which is 2.4. Now I'm going to subtract. 3 take away 2.4 is 0.6. 8 won't go into that 6. So I'm going to add another 0 and I'm going to bring that 0 down. And now I ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 60? It will go in 7 times. I do a backwards multiply of 7 times 8, and that will give me 56. I'm going to do my subtraction. That's going to give me 0.04. 8 won't go into that 4, so I'm going to add another 0. I'm going to bring that 0 all the way down here to treat that 0.04 as a 40. 8 goes into 40. 8 does go into 40, and it goes in a perfect 5 times. And I can see that by doing that backwards multiply of the 5 by 8 to get the 40, and there's my remainder of 0. And so then that tells me that 3/8 is the same as 0.375. Looking at 2 more examples, let's first look at 2/3. So if I take 3 and I try to divide that into 2, obviously 3 won't go into 2, so I'm going to get my 0. I'm now going to add my decimal point and place in my 0. And I'm now going to treat 2 as 20. So 3 goes into 20. Well, that will go 6 times. Multiply the 6 by the 3 to get 18, but don't forget my decimal. This is now 0.2. Again, 3 won't go into the 2, so I'm going to add a 0. I'm going to bring down that 0. 3 goes into 20, another 6 times. Do my backwards multiply, and I can see that I'm going to start to get the same thing all over. And so if I bring down that 0 again, it goes in another 6 times, and that's going to repeat. And so that's why we would say that 2/3 is 0.66666 and so on, or a nice easier way to write that would have been 0.6 repeating. Now we can convert mixed numbers into decimals as well. The first thing is I know that the 4 is going to be the 4. Then I really just need to convert the 3/5. So I'm going to take the 5 and I'm going to try to divide that into 3. Obviously 5 won't go into 3. That's when I then introduce the 0. 5 goes into 30 6 times, backwards multiply, and I do get 30. And when I do that subtraction, I get 0. And so therefore I know that this answer is going to be 4.6.